Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the Guardians of the Galaxy update patch notes are here. We're getting one less uniform than I thought for part 1. No uniform for Groot, no tier 3 for Groot just yet. Looks like they're saving that uniform tier 3 combination for part 2. We have CTP of Insight Reforging. We also have additional Soul of the Falcon being added to Galactus. So with that being said, let's jump into it, man. So first and foremost, as you can see, all of the uniforms in part 1 of this update is going to be 50% off, so that's really good. For Star-Lord, the first thing that they decided to do for his new uniform is give him 15% chain hit damage as a part of his uniform bonus. Before, he was only getting 30% guaranteed dodge. Chain hit damage is pretty good. They're deciding to buff his leadership from 55% energy attack to 60%, and they're also deciding to give him 15% energy attack from his 4-star passive. Previously, it was just the 40% ignore dodge, so right off the bat, Star-Lord is going to have 20% more energy attack because you're always using him as a leadership for himself. As for his tier 2 passive, they're giving him 10% more critical damage. Previously it was only 10%, now it's 20%. He's keeping the guaranteed critical rate at 30%. His skill damage and bonus damage previously was 15% for skill damage and 20% for bonus damage. Now it's 35-35, so he's definitely going to be hitting a little bit harder than last time. So that's pretty good. First skill has stun, that's decent. Second skill has silence. Then we have burn, we have stun, sneer, fracture, HP recovery of 20%. I was hoping for 25. That's unfortunate. However, at least he can heal this time around. Next up, we have his 5th skill, which gives him 1.2% damage accumulation. Previously, this was just 1%, so they're definitely upping his DPS this time around. They're also lowering the cooldown time of Starship Sweeper. Previously, this was a 20-second cooldown. Now it's 18 seconds, so that's pretty good. Overall, this is actually a pretty good change for Star-Lord. Him being able to heal is going to go a long way. I hated playing him before without the heal. Next up, we have Rocket Raccoon, and last time he only had 25% all attack and 15% ignore defense. Now they're giving him 20% decrease the damage received and 30% all attack. At least they're making him a support character for the Guardians of the Galaxy allies, so this is really good. Means there's going to be a Guardian tag, boys. This is what I'm talking about. Yes, as you can see right here in the ability section, he has the weapon master tag and also the Guardians of the Galaxy tag. These guys are listening. I talked about this in my previous video. It makes no sense for the Guardians to have so many different members and not have a ability tag, since a lot of them are lacking in tags. Moving on to Rocket's tier 2 passive, they're bumping up his skill damage from 42% to 45 and bonus damage from 30% to 35, so a little bit more damage there. Next up, we have his first skill, which gives him 3 seconds of immunity and increases his basic damage by 80% for 2 attacks and 6 second on duration there. That's pretty good. 10-second cooldown, 10-second cooldown on the second skill with stun, covers 20% of his HP, which he couldn't do before, so that's really good. 4th skill has burn, and the 5th skill has damage accumulation. It's 0.8%. He did not have this before, so that's really good. So Rocket is actually looking pretty decent with accumulation, a support buff, and healing. Next up, we have Mantis. Now for Mantis, this is her first uniform, so this is going to be really good for her, and in addition to that, they're making her a support character, so this is amazing. Guardians are going to have a lot of support characters in there. This is even better because of the fact that this applies to all allies, not just Guardians of the Galaxy allies. So for a uniform effect, 80% chance to become immune to mind damage, that's whatever. Increase mind damage, so they're going to make her a fully mind-based character. Increases skill damage and bonus damage, that's pretty good. First skill has silence, second skill has stun and silence, third skill has damage accumulation, which is really good. She did not have this before. 4th skill has a 30% heal, invincibility, and a 50% proc, and the 5th skill has bleed, stun, silence, defense down, and all attack. So very good for Mantis. The biggest change for her is the fact that she's going to become a support character. However, she's more of a damage reduction support character. Personally, I prefer offensive support characters, but any kind of support buff will make her relevant. However, the biggest disappointment with all of this is the fact that none of these guys actually got iframe ignore on their skills. You can see right there, literally the best thing that they got on their 1 through 5 is Rocket's ability to reuse his 1 skill up to 3 times and then it goes on cooldown. Personally, I would have liked it if they got iframe ignore on 1 skill, especially Mantis, since she seems to be more of a PvP support character. Tier 4 Star-Lord actually looks pretty decent. So 120% all attack for 10 seconds, increases his max HP by 50% and recovers 10% of his HP for 5 seconds. This is actually a pretty good buff because it makes the older uniforms for Star-Lord actually decent if you tier 4 him, because the older uniforms cannot heal, and with this he gets a big HP buff and healing. So if you had the old uniform and you don't feel like buying the new one, well, you tier 4 Star-Lord and the older ones will become relevant. Still not going to be as strong as the new one, but relevant nonetheless. Moving on, we have the tier 3 skill for Rocket, and it actually looks pretty decent. Could have been better, but it is what it is. Next up, we have the Awaken skill for Mantis and Nebula. If you're a Nebula fan and you're wondering what's going on with Nebula's uniform, then obviously Nebula's uniform is going to be coming in part 2 with Groot. I would be shocked if that is not the case, but sometimes these guys do dumb stuff, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. So, new PvP mode, Otherworld Battle. Otherworld Battle is a seasonal PvP game mode where 5 heroes can battle each other, win Otherworld battles to acquire various item and X of Sword enchant materials. This whole game mode was created so they can sell a battle pass and new swords, so get ready for more pay to win. Oh hell no! Each Otherworld Battle season will progress for 8 weeks straight and will reset on Saturdays. Otherworld battles can be entered without any cost and participation limit during the season. Otherworld battles consist of 6 leagues from bronze to challenger, same as timeline battle. Copy paste, boys, it's all they know. So pretty much you're gonna select a team of 5, you're gonna enter the arena, you're gonna buy buffs, and you're gonna use the same 5 characters, the strongest 5 characters for the entire 8-week period. Anyways, at least you can buy tier 4 materials in the shop here, as you can see, as well as dimension chests with CTPs and ODINS blessings. Tier 3 and tier 4 materials, X of Sword materials can be purchased from the battle shop. You need a lot of points though, which means you're going to need to win a lot. You're going to have to play for a full season to be able to pick up just 300 carbonadium. That's for a whole 8 weeks.
You're kidding, right?
Hopefully I'm wrong and you can pick up at least 300 per week. That'll be really good, I guess. They didn't show us the price for the dimension chests and the oldest blessings and stuff, so my guess is they're going to be like 10,000 and up. Now here's where the pay to win part comes in. Rewards can be acquired up to 5 times daily and will reset at the daily reset. After using all of your free entries, the 5 entries that they give you, agents can refresh the limit with materials up to 5 times. What materials? Probably materials that you're going to have to buy. Same way how like in timeline value you can refill the entries for crystals. And when they say up to 5 times, so they mean that you can go from getting 5 fights per day to 25 fights, because each time you refresh it you get 5 fights, or each time you refresh it you only get 1 fight, and then you can refresh it up to 5 additional fights. Rank rewards and league rewards can be acquired when the week or season ends. On a weekly basis you can get up to 1,600 of these tokens for being in challenger. However, keep in mind you need up to 7,000 of these tokens to pick up just 300 carbonadium. So do the math, my friends.
This is blasphemy. This is madness!
You're gonna be grinding a whole lot for not very much. At least it's just autoplay.
He ain't lying.
And if you go down a little bit lower here, you can see a full breakdown of the weekly rewards for all of the different leagues, starting at bronze. So if you play for a full 8 weeks, you're gonna get less than 8,000 tokens, which is just enough for you to pick up 300 of whatever tier 4 material you want. It's a little bit more for silver. Gold is a little bit better. Platinum and vibranium, I think, is where the majority of players are gonna be sitting on a weekly basis, especially in a game mode where skill is not required per se. It's just how good your characters are built. So the people who have a lot of brilliant CTPs, the people who have a lot of HP on their cards, the people who have a lot of pierce, the people who have a lot of swords. all of the pay to win effects are going to make it very difficult for people to make it past Vibranium. So it's only going to be a select few people that can get into Challenger. Challenger, as you can see, is going to be 100 players because they have rank 1 to 100 for Challenger. On the plus side, as you can see, there is a crystal reward for this new game mode, so that's pretty good. So if you were getting 200 crystals per week in timeline battle before, now you can get up to 400 crystals per week because of this new game mode. And over the course of a month, that's enough for you to pick up a brand new uniform if you're completely free to play. If you hang on to a spot in this new Otherworld arena in addition to timeline battle, but it's going to become harder than ever because of the swords. So as you can see right here, we have the new seasons pass, which I will not be buying, but as you can see, you get additional rewards from buying it, which is going to make it much easier for you to dominate people. You can also pay to level up because why not? You can even buy sword materials and all that stuff because the whole game mode was designed to make money. Okay, it's not designed for you to have fun.
Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe. But this does put a smile on my face.
You just want to spend money and watch their characters fight. That's it. Marvel money fight. Yes, sir. Throw money at the screen and watch the screen do its thing.
First of all, congratulations, Mr. Krab. What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
I like money.
You get enough of these little swords from playing this autoplay battle system. You can then come in here and you can enhance the sword with stones. And in typical Marvel Future Fight fashion, there is a % chance when you're doing all of this. So even if you throw money at the screen, nothing is guaranteed. And once you enhance the swords, you're gonna then have to fight with the different colors on the sword to try and get them to all match up to give you additional stats that you're after. It's just absolutely lovely, man. More RNG in the game, more ways for you to get absolutely fucked. Now, as you can see right here, you can equip up to 6 swords at a time, and when you upgrade these different swords, they're gonna give you more attack. So elemental mastery is a sum of all of the elemental levels. The highest level is 36, which raises all basic attack by 50%. I honestly don't understand why they're trying to complicate the game, but they're really trying to confuse you so you spend more money because you're confused. Okay, so basically do all of this malarkey so you can get 50% more attack. The level will be increased to a maximum of level 6 of the sum of the elemental awaken on the slots. Just more nonsense. Okay, now here's the big one for you. Additional pierce decrease 20%. You spent all that time building up your pierce. It means nothing now because we can just reduce that by 20%. You love to see it, man. Don't you love to see it? All that money you spent on your cards to get 25% pierce, absolutely lovely. And then when you build up this new system, in about 2 years time, they'll release something to make sure that you get fucked on this too. Swords can be dismantled with gold to acquire runes of the unknown. Oh, and here comes the best part, guys. After you get all these things and then you start re-rolling the colors and whatnot for additional stats, check this out. You can decrease damage received from alien type, decrease damage received from machine type, decrease damage received from mutants, you know, all this other stuff, like new stuff in the game that makes it so that there's even more RNG in this thing to re-roll. Okay, you now can use crystals to do it. Don't you just love it? Oh yes, guys, more ways for you to spend crystals. You love it, man. So they give out 200 more crystals per week. Yay! They make it so that it's more difficult for you to earn crystals from timeline battle, which you could have previously, because now all the whales are gonna have swords, and the swords are gonna give them extra attack and defense and damage reduction and pierce reduction and all that other shit, right?
Cry me a river. Go on, cry me a river.
And then you can come in here and then you can lock these stats and get wrecked trying to reroll for all of the same matching colors and whatever desired effect. Hey, more customization is pretty cool though, I ain't gonna lie. But for me personally, I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of money on this shit. Next up, we have the CTP of Insight Reforging, and they made it so that this thing is actually viable for both PvE and PvP. How valuable, we'll have to wait and see, because of the fact that they didn't really tell us us how it activates, right? They only tell you that you can reforge it and they showed you the stats. However, for most CTPs, for you to get the reforge effect, you have to move around the character, or the characters need to be hit, or the characters need to use skills to get the reforge effect to activate. For the CTP of Insight, I'm not too sure if it's going to activate by itself when the characters are not on the field. And if that's not the case, it's going to be the most worthless CTP. We'll have to wait and see. If it activates on its own like it always has and you get the reforge effect, that would be really good. Next up, we have Star-Lord's artifact, and this one decreases basic damage received from supervillains by 20% and increases damage dealt to alien characters by 25%. It's a mixture of a couple different artifacts we've seen. For Rocket, increases damage dealt to supervillain by 15% and then increases all attack. As for Mantis, 20% extra damage to heroes and villains. That's pretty good. That's one of the best ones in the game, actually. It's the same as like Jean Grey, Gore, and a few others. And then Nebula increases all elemental damage by 20%. I believe this one is the same as Storm. Then we have the Seasons Pass. We have new icons for Star-Lord and Rocket. Let me see these. Star-Lord is dancing, Rocket is winking at you. Mantis is gonna be in the shop for tokens, and then Sharon Rogers is gonna be for free. Personally, I'm gonna skip over the Seasons Pass. I don't think I'm gonna be buying it for a long time. I don't really like this update too much, so I'm not gonna really buy those icons. I do like the Mantis one though, I ain't gonna hold you, but I'm gonna skip over it. Now we have the tier 4 material increase the giant boss raid. Now if this is 150 that you can get from playing Galactus, and then you can go play Dormammu for another 150.
Sensational.
Sharon Rogers Poseidon armor 3rd and 5th active skills have been improved to be used with other skills in combos more easily.
Ladies, this is your pilot speaking. I am in the full upright and locked position.
Here's to hoping that they made her more proc friendly, because the 3rd skill was activating a little bit too early and the 5th skill was activating a little bit too late. So because of that, people were having a hard time hitting the procs with her. So Sharon might actually become even more of a beast, even more proc friendly. Okay, so they got 2 different buffs in here for Sharon Rogers. Number 9 is actually pretty important too. The remaining time of buffs has been fixed to not be reduced when the animation for the ultimate skill of Captain America Sharon Rogers Poseidon uniform is being displayed. So when you're in the tier 3, the buffs are not going to start reducing until you finish the tier 3 skill. I might make her a little bit stronger, I ain't gonna hold you, because the buff is going to run a little bit longer now. Yo, so Sharon Rogers uniform might actually be more spicy after this update.